It's Friday, and I'm back with the next in our Fanzine Friday series. Today we're taking a look at Ringwraith's Shadow, number 1. Please stick around. I'm AZ Mountaineer. This is our channel, Old School Rules, where we celebrate the community of old school gamers and grognards like classic RPGs, miniatures, magazines, and everything that goes with it. Each week on the Fanzine Friday series, I take a fanzine from my collection off the shelf for a closer look. And today, from 1981, we're taking a look at a fanzine called Ringwraith's Shadow. It's the product of Stuart, Goldshaft, and Russell Michaels. Hope you enjoy the video. Today, we're taking a look at a new fanzine. It's called Ringwraith's Shadow. It's just a yellow paper, not even really heavy stock, and then paper folded in half, stapled down the side. This is produced in 1981. It's the only issue, I believe, of Ringwraith's Shadow that comes out as just number 1. So short-lived, but I think it has some interesting stuff, and I thought it'd be a nice one to take a look at. I will mention briefly, I noticed the other day, this is the 99th fanzine video that we have done. So next time for video 100, do something a little special. We're going to start a new fanzine. I think it's going to be a really good one that I think everybody will enjoy. Okay, here's our cover art. This cover art is done by, I think his name is Raj Choban, and he does most of the art in this fanzine. You've got this warrior here with a little dragon-like creature in the background. You know, the art's okay. Here's our table of contents. We have a very short editorial, info, like new information about what's going on in the hobby, some reviews, a list of fantasy figure manufacturers, a couple new monsters, an adventure called The Doomed Dungeon, some review of other fanzines, and then finally a little feedback survey for you to tell him what you like, both about this fanzine, and he also asks what you like about what other fanzines you like. Stuart Goldshaft and Russell Michaels are given credit as the people who are in charge as the editors, and then Lee Tibbles is their associate editor. Raj and Russell Michaels do some of the art. John Bratt, Tanup, Gadhia, and Anna Michaels are just given other credit. None of the articles in here have any particular person's name next to them, so I'm not really sure who did what inside the fanzine. The editorial here shows you it's April '81. Their ambition was to do a quarterly fanzine. The typical, issue 1 editorial, welcome to our fanzine. They say they're inspired in particular by The Beholder and Trollcrusher, and think this is going to be a good fanzine for them. They're not on subscriptions at this point. They're sort of not ready for that. They do ask for articles, give you information about how to put in information about being available as a game master or player to get connected to other people, and also if you wanted to buy an ad, you could do that. And they encourage people to write in with their thoughts about the fanzine. In terms of what else is going on in the industry, they mentioned that New Traveler has a product called Invasion Earth. Eon Products has a game called Quirks. Task Force Game is releasing a module for Starfleet Battles. Yaquinto Publications has a new album game called Asteroid Pirates, Hellride, and Mutant Attack. Judges Guild has released The Unknown Gods. Heritage USA has published a box set of rules called Night and Magic. Games Unlimited has released the 4th Chivalry and Sorcery supplement called Saracens and Crusaders, and a new sci-fi game called Space Opera. And then he mentions that the South London Warlords Salute 81 is taking place in Kensington Hall, and you can get details about that if you want to participate. And Radio 4 has turned Lord of the Rings into a 26-part radio serial that's being broadcast if you want to be participating in that. And he also mentions he is looking for issue number 1 of Trollcrusher, Underworld Oracle, Illusionist Vision, Spectre, fanzines. I'm looking for a couple of those myself, as a matter of fact. And then he also mentions that there's a new British magazine that will be more like White Dwarf, which is the New Beholder, which starts with, I think, issue 24 or 25. Okay, we got reviews here. The first review is Unfinished Tales by J.R.R. Tolkien. He talks about that book, The Silmarillion, how much he's liked all the books that have come already, and he's a really big fan of Unfinished Tales. He says, some people might not want it because it's It's not like a complete story, right? It's broken bits and pieces here and there, but this guy, clearly a fan of all things Tolkien, and so he was glad to have all that stuff to be able to read. A couple other things they look at in here. One is Avalon Hill has a new game called Magic Realm, and Flying Buffalo has released their game Tunnels and Trolls. He liked both of those. He sort of says, look, Tunnels and Trolls is good maybe as an introductory role-playing game instead of D&D, because it's maybe a little easier and quicker to learn and to play. But he says, you know, if you've already learned how to play something like D&D or CNS, you're not going to want to go back to the sort of thinner, maybe the right way of saying, a game of Tunnels and Trolls. This is a cartoon strip. I don't understand it. It's called The Alchemist. The Alchemist is here in the front. There's some guy in the back. I don't know what he's doing. The Alchemist says, "Eureka, I have found the formula." He looks like he spills it on the ground on purpose. And then it's a bag of something that looks like it's called Gold Blend. So I have no idea what that's about, but just thought I'd share it. Maybe somebody watching this video understands what that's about. I thought this was good. We'll go through these very quickly. Just sort of for historical interest, this is his guide to fantasy figure manufacturers, so people who are making miniatures, right? Adena Corporation, Pennsylvania. Archive Miniatures in London. Asgard Miniature, London. Atpac in Pennsylvania, Glenside, Pennsylvania. Caldercraft, also there in the UK. Chronicle Miniatures, also in the UK. Citadel Miniatures, Dragon Miniatures, that's in the US. I think it says, this is an American range, although the address they give you is in the UK. Dragon Tooth Fantasy Figures, New York. Fantasy Trip Miniatures, Greenwood and Ball. Grenadier, Heritage Models, Hincliffe Models, Emmy Riceley, says it's American. Illusion, Jacobite Miniatures, Levithian Models, Little Generals Miniatures, McEwen Miniatures, Martian Metals, Miniature Figurines, aka Minifigs, Minot Miniatures, Monarch Miniatures, Oracle Miniatures, that's the people that did Oracle, the fanzine, Underworld Oracle, Pendragon Studios, Phoenix Model Development, QT Models, Raupartha, SK Models, Superior Models, Tin Soldier, Torfano Studios, Tunnels and Trolls Miniatures by Flying Buffalo, Valiant Miniatures, Vulcan Miniatures, and Warrior Miniatures. So those of you who are really into miniatures, I probably recognize a number of those names, although to me some of them were ones I'm not familiar with, so probably smaller, shorter lifespans there. We have two new monsters. One is called the Ulf, and the other is called the Hell D, or Die. So the Ulf is this half-orc looking creature. It's sort of schizophrenic. It'll go from being chaotic good to chaotic evil randomly. And they say that you roll a random die to see which alignment it is when you meet it. If it's chaotic evil, it'll just run up and attack you. If it's chaotic good, it'll stay with the party and try to help you out. And then this just says the DM should randomly roll to see whether he switches to the opposite alignment from time to time. So there we go. And then this other creature, the Hell D or Hell Die, is like a ghoul, except for it has these wings. Its eyes look like cat eyes, but just like a ghoul, it likes to eat human flesh, and so it'll normally come to a cemetery and dig up bodies and eat that. If it can't find any, it'll sort of hang around. It can go into an astral state and go out looking for bodies to eat, and when you find it, it's going to try and eat you. So it doesn't say whether you can turn it like a ghoul. I would probably I think you probably should be able to from the way he describes it, but it's not really clear whether it's some undead or just like some demonic creature that's got some similarities to ghouls. But in any event, there you go. And then we have the main feature, which is the Doomed Dungeon. And here's our map. It's It's got an interesting backstory, which is there was this giant dragon, and they buried it. They cast a spell on it and put it to sleep for 100 years and a day, or 101 years, something like that. And then they buried it, and then they built this dungeon on top of it. It's not clear why they did that, but that's what they did. And your adventurers are coming basically when that time is up. And so they say, you know, it's not clear whether you give them any kind of rumors or information about that. They suggest maybe you don't, which kind of makes me feel like well, then they don't. It's a cool story, so they don't even know anything about it. But you're going to get there. There's one room you can get to where it's apparently right on top of its heart, and you can hear the heart beating, the pulsing, and you can even feel the vibrations in the floor. And there's a way to find the right sort of pieces of the puzzle, and you can sort of put it back to sleep for another 100 years. Otherwise, the suggestion is at some point when you're in play, the DM should have either a timer or a random roll to make it time, and the dragon's going to wake up, and it's a huge dragon, and so it'll come up through the floor, the entire dungeon will be destroyed, and your party gets killed. And that seems, you know, like not a lot of fun, especially if the party doesn't know that they're racing against the clock to try and stop that, right? So I think you'd either have to make a choice to tell them, like, this is the final day, and you've got the timer's running, and so you know your mission is to figure out the puzzle. Or maybe it shouldn't basically just instantly kill everybody and come up through the floor destroying everything. That's my thought on that. But it's a little bit of a funhouse random dungeon. Stuff doesn't really make a lot of sense. There's rooms where monsters are just hanging out waiting for your characters to show up. So you know, it's a fair effort. It's certainly not the best fanzine adventure I've ever seen. Okay, speaking of fanzines, they have fanzine reviews in here. So let's just let you know what's going on. So the Palantir number 2, Illusionist Vision number 3, Beholder 24, Bandsaw 1, The Wanderer number 3, and Alien Star 1. That's what's come out that he's looked at recently. He likes the Palantir and Illusionist Vision. He loves the Beholder and thinks this most recent issue, he says they're always great, and this most recent one was just outstanding. And here's where he says, so it's number 25 would be what we call the new Beholder series, and it's going to have sort of new management, and it's going to go from being the smaller size that we're used to sort of full size like a magazine. Unfortunately, that only lasts for 3 or 4 issues, I think, and then that's the end of the Beholder. Bandsaw, he says, is horrible. It's basically an adventure, and it's not a good one. The Wonder, he says, quite good, and don't let the sort of poor artwork fool you because the contents are actually quite good. The number 3 had some stuff for D&D, Fantasy Trip and Traveler, as well as Gamma World. And then this Alien Star, that is a Traveler-centric fanzine. All right, here's the last page, which is their feedback. Give us feedback 1 to 10 on what you liked about our fanzine, and then tell us which fanzines out there you like. Beholder, Bandsaw, Trollcrusher, White Dwarf, Demonsblood, Palantir, Dragonlords, Wyrms Claw, The Wanderer, Spectre, Illusionist Vision, and Aerial Servant. I have some of all of those except for Bandsaw. I got a feeling Bandsaw 1 was the last of it. I've seen somewhere else, I think, about that one, that it was just really bad quality. Yes, but so other than that, I have some of all of these, and I have all of some of these. Some of them we've covered already, and some of them we're going to cover, obviously, in the future. And so the ones I don't have them all, like I try to get the complete collection before I start taking a look at them. But so, anyway, there's our fanzines. Here's our rear cover, some more funky art from this guy. This is like sort of some kind of demon. And then let's take a look at the rest of the art that was in this fanzine. We've got the dragon here, some multi-headed Hydra. I think this is actually my favorite here on the left, which is this dwarf. Reminds me of like a Russ Nicholson drawing a little bit more than the other stuff that's in here. And then this sort of, I think, a vampire-looking creature. And then there's this little creature. I don't know what he is. Some kind of little demon or imp or something like that. And then we've got the giant here who's holding up something so the party sees it and thinks it's a creature, and maybe they're going to come closer, and then the giant's going to bop them on the head. We've got the crazy little looking alligator dinosaur creature down here as well. And then finally, some illustrations that were part of the dungeon. We've got this, the ghoul-like creature, the like Hallie D, and then something like, I think a couple pictures of it right further out and then zoomed in on its face. This Mephisto-looking head, some looks like troll hands coming up through the floor, and then this guy who I think reminds me a little bit of Conan. That completes our look at Ringwraith's Shadow #1 from 1981. Another one of these random, very short-lived, fun little fanzines someone got together and decided to make their own, which I applaud, absolutely. Hope you guys have enjoyed the look at the Ringwraith's Shadow. Hope you're enjoying our Fanzine Friday video series, and I hope you're subscribed. If you've got any friends who would enjoy our content, please send them our way. We're continuing to grow our subscriber base. We're almost to 750 subscribers, which is fantastic. Okay, guys, have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. Until next time, my friends, keep rolling 20s.